No running for 3 weeks, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about this first run back. Testing out the calf. I've also had a bit of a virus the last couple of weeks, which has really knocked me about. And this will be the first run back using the Maffertone method. And on top of all that, it's raining. So wish me luck, guys. There are 3 components to the Maffertone method: exercise, nutrition, and stress. And over the next 8 weeks, I'm going to be concentrating solely on the exercise component as I use heart rate with my running to build a stronger aerobic engine. Now, I'm not too concerned about the nutrition and stress components. My nutrition is pretty good, even though I've put on a few kegs over the last few weeks because of no running. I'm mostly vegan, and I think I follow a pretty healthy diet as it is. And stress, well, I'm a pretty laid back type of character. I sleep well, so I'm well rested, and the stress levels are pretty low. Now, I'm no expert on the MAF method, guys. I have run to the Maffertone method before, about 5 or 6 years ago, when I was coming back from a stress fracture just below my left knee. I made a lot of videos here on the channel about running to the MAF, and it's not something that I'm unfamiliar with. And coming back from a little bit of a niggle with this calf, also dealing with the chronic knee, and having been a little bit under the weather for the past couple of weeks as well, I think the MAF is the right method to go with now as I try to build back up to some decent fitness. Just quickly, guys, a little bit of background on the Maffertone method. It was developed by a guy called Dr. Phil Maffertone back in the 1970s and 80s. He did thousands and thousands of tests on athletes using heart rate for exercise. And from all the data that he collected, what he discovered was that the well-used formula to determine our maximum heart rate, that 220 minus your age times a certain percentage, that number was actually too high. And what he was finding from the athletes that he tested was that they were overtraining, there was burnout, there was injuries, etc. From all that data that he collected over all those years, he devised a mathematical formula that he thought was a much truer indication of training at your aerobic level. So that's a general and very quick look at how the MAF, maximum aerobic function method, was born. What I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to show you what my MAF magic number is for training or running aerobically. I'll just grab my whiteboard, we'll write it down as we go. We start with that magic number that Dr. Maffertone devised from all those testings, and that MAF formula, probably won't be able to understand my writing. Anyway, we'll give it a go. MAF formula, it starts with 180. That is the magic number, and from that we have to take away my age. So my age is now 59. That gives us 121 beats per minute. That is my aerobic training number. So any exercise that I do should not breach this 121 beats per minute. However, because I have had a slight injury and I've been off running / exercising for 4 weeks now, I have to now take another 5 beats per minute off that number. So that means that number now becomes 116 beats per minute. Oops, drop my lid. So that is my number for training aerobically or running aerobically for the next 8 weeks. That's a very, very low number. I think when I did the Maffertone method last time, I was sitting on around about 125, might have even been a little bit higher than that. So as you can see, that number is a hell of a lot lower, and it's going to get quite frustrating, I'm sure, especially in the early weeks where trying to stick to that number is going to be quite difficult, because we are coming into summer now here in Brisbane, which means it's getting hotter, which means that the body or the heart is going to beat faster because it's pushing more blood through the body to help keep the body cool. So I'm in for a bit of a challenge. Another thing too, the last time that I did the Maffertone method, little graph here, say this was the 125 beats per minute that I spoke of. Last time I did the MAF method, I did something like this. I cheated a little bit with the Maffertone method. I was averaging out my complete run with that heart rate number. If I got to the end of the run here and my heart rate was 125 average, happy days. But I'm not going to do that this time, because doing it that way last time, I was cheating a little bit, because these peaks here above that 125 meant that I was training above my aerobic threshold, I guess you could call it. Where I need to be this time is down here. I need to be under this magic number, and that's what it is, 116 beats per minute. Now, I went for a walk with Trish the other day, just along the Esplanade. We did a 5k walk. Our heart rate was sitting around 80 to 82 beats per minute, just walking. So I've only got another 30 beats per minute until I reach that 116 beats per minute. So for the next 8 weeks, I'm sticking to 116 beats per minute. Each time I breach that number, I'm going to have to either slow down or I'm going to have to stop and walk and let that heart rate number come back down. Okay, so I have breached that 116 beats per minute heart rate. So I need to walk for a little bit. I've only gone about, wow, not even 500 meters. I'll just walk a bit, let it come down 10 beats per minute. Once it hits 106 beats per minute, I'll start again. Whew. There we go, 30 minutes. Bloody hell, that was frustrating. I had more walk breaks, I think, than actual running. I think I was stopping every sort of 200 to 300 meters because that heart rate was breaching that 116 beats per minute. But kept true to myself, and every time I did go over that 116, I stopped and walked, brought it back down to 106 beats per minute before walking again. So 7-minute average for 30 minutes. Not sure how far I got. That's probably only 4 point something kilometers. Let's have a look. Not sure, but Trish is ringing me. I've jumped in the car because it's a little bit noisy outside. Look, I'll learn from that first run back using the Maffertone method. I've got to get the pacing right. Obviously, I started out a little bit too quick at the beginning of that run because it was only 500 meters and the heart rate had already spiked. And I looked down, it was 122 beats per minute. That's something that I'll have to correct moving forward. Sure, there's going to be that heart rate spike at the beginning of a run because you are going from basically doing nothing to running. I'll have to make that much more gradual at the start of a run going forward. Look, it's going to be frustrating. I knew it would be frustrating with the heart rate being so low, but it's something that I need at this point. Coming back from the calf, coming back after a bit of an illness, and also dealing with the dodgy knee. In terms of how did the calf feel, the calf felt really good while I was running. During the walk breaks, it felt a little bit tight. Hopefully that doesn't mean that I'm going to have a continuing problem with it. Still a little bit heavy in the chest as well from that virus. That will improve as well over time. Like I said, I'll be sticking to the MAF method for a couple of months while I build this base. Yeah, it's just a matter of working through it, getting that pacing right, and just dealing with the level of frustration that's going to come with the fact that I'm going to be doing a lot of stop starting, especially in these early few weeks. All right, first time using the foot massager. Shout out to Mount Tracks for shooting this through to me. Actually, I've got to turn it on first. There we go, it's firing up. I've got it in a US 11.5 foot size. This says it's acceptable up to a US size 12. So throw my foot in. I'm just make sure I've got no rubbish on the bottom of it. Oh, it's pretty snug. Throw that in there. All right, let's try power. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I've just got it on normal setting here at the moment. Really nice. So it's a bit like marbles being pressed into your foot, especially in the forefoot to midfoot, not so much around the heel. Now I've got this on a setting of low kneading and low air compression. Okay, so let's just up that to medium kneading and the medium air compression. Oh, that's starting to get in a little bit deeper. Oh, and there was just a puff of air that just came in. I'm not sure if you heard that coming through on the microphone. It was like a whoosh. I just felt that through my toes. That's really getting in there now, and that's just on the medium setting. So in the manual it says that the foot massager is really good for relieving pain in your foot. It's also good for improving blood circulation and helps with insomnia as well. The recommendation is that you only use it for 15 to 30 minutes, otherwise your foot might just get a little bit sore. As I said, I've got this on medium now and it's getting right in there, right into that midfoot, right into the ball of my foot, up into the toes. Quite soothing, quite relaxing. Let's pump it up again now to the next level. I could imagine that after doing a long run where your feet do get a little bit swollen, a little bit sore, throwing your feet in here for 15 or 20 minutes, oh, That is getting right in there. This is really quite strong on my feet. Oh, it's now sort of going just at the base of the toes. It's really quite comfortable. Not sure if you heard that air then being blown into the compartment where my feet are. Okay, I had that on the heat setting then. Didn't feel warm in any way. I could get used to this. All right, I'm going to try it now with the remote control that comes with it. It's got a lithium battery that sits in there as well. Turn the heat on. There we go. That's pretty cool. We'll go with the kneading. Okay, so that stopped the kneading. We go back to low, medium, high, and the air compression as well. Same deal. And you can regulate the timer as well from 30 minutes, which is on now, back to 15 minutes. So when you first turn the unit on, the foot massager on, it does come on at 15 minutes. So if you want it any longer, you do have to change that timer from 15 to 30. Oh, that is really nice. I'm sure you heard that then. That's that air compression coming into the compartment there to just make sure your feet stay nice and cool. Oh, this is a great tool to have for endurance athletes. This could be something you use at work, you know, just take it to work, throw it underneath the desk, plug it in, sit there while you're working. I know I work at a desk from home, so obviously after a run, I could throw this under the desk, put my feet in it for 15-30 minutes at a time, a couple of times a day, and I think my feet would be pretty Mickey Mouse. And you can just turn it off as well. There we go, all done.